Hi, this is Mike from Theme Park Delight. Some of you know Cindy and I, my wife, from our Theme Park Delight channel on YouTube, and maybe follow us on Facebook and Instagram. So I do have some sad news. My wife, Cindy, passed away from terminal cancer in February. After a 9-year battle with cancer, she was very courageous in her struggle with cancer, and I'm so blessed that she was able to live as long as she did, knowing she had the diagnosis. I also have some sad news for her sister Cheryl and their mother too, and more about that later, and the future of this YouTube channel. So my wife Cindy, her sister Cheryl, and I were all Walt Disney World cast members at different times. Cindy and I were cast members at Walt Disney World in the Disney Central Reservation Center, and her sister Cheryl was a Disneyland cast member in Anaheim. She also worked in the call center for a while, and she worked at the Disney Grand Californian Hotel as a hotel guest agent and a concierge. So the story about Cindy and I, we grew up in Oregon. We both got married when we were 20. We have 2 adult daughters. 6 years after we were married, we moved from like the Portland, Oregon area to Long Beach, Washington, because her parents, they retired and moved to Washington. So we decided that it would be great for the kids to be near the grandparents. So we moved to Washington, and we kind of took over a little cul-de-sac. We had a house for the great-grandparents, a house for her parents. Her sister Cheryl had a house, and Cindy and I had a house, all in this one little cul-de-sac. So it was really a fun place to live. When the kids were little, they could ride their trikes up to Grandma's house. It was a lot of fun those years. So over the years, we did a lot of vacations to Disneyland, to Disney World, Knott's Berry Farm, Universal Orlando. So theme parks were a mainstay of what our vacations consisted of. Making those memories with family is very important, and to us it was anyway. And we're so glad that we made all those memories. We have so many photos and videos of all the fun we had together. In 2016, Cindy was diagnosed with colon cancer at the age of 48. At that time, your first colonoscopy screening would be recommended at age 50. So there was just too many people getting cancer at an earlier age, and it's even getting worse now. Since then, they have lowered the age of your first cancer screening to 45. So I encourage you, do not skip any cancer screenings that are recommended. Now, here in America, our health insurance usually pays for the cancer screening. Doesn't cost you a thing. Go in and do it. Don't skip it. In 2016, she had a colon resection surgery where they cut out the part of the colon that had the cancer. And after that was all done, they told her that she only had like a 4% chance of the cancer coming back because they did not find any other cancer. So she didn't do chemotherapy. Then 2 years later, in 2018, the cancer did come back, and this time it was stage 4. She had to go on chemo. And because of the health insurance and the health care we had from where we lived in Long Beach, Washington, we selected a cancer treatment center that was 185 miles away. And so every 3 weeks, we would drive to see the oncologist and get her scans and updates. And she had a really good oncologist she was really happy with there. She had to do chemotherapy for a certain period of time and then go off it shortly. And then she had to have a liver resection surgery, so she had her surgery at Swedish Seattle Hospital in 2018 over Thanksgiving. After that, she did go back on chemo. They thought they got it all again, but the oncologist was like, let's just do maintenance chemo to help prevent it from coming back, because it does come back in a lot of cases. In 2018, around that time, Cindy's parents moved out of Long Beach, Washington. By that time, her grandparents gotten old and passed away. Her sister Cheryl, a few years earlier, had moved to Anaheim to go work at Disneyland and live there. So we ended up being all alone in a 3,000 square foot house. Our daughters had moved away as well. Both of them had gotten married and moved away. So we're empty nesters in a 3,000 square foot house in Long Beach, Washington. We decided, let's go on a vacation, Walt Disney World. One time we went on vacation there. After the vacation, we're back home. And one day I just had this feeling that it would just be so fun to live in Kissimmee, Orlando, right near the theme parks. We could have fun. Cindy didn't want to live at the beach anymore because everybody had moved away. It's cold, it's rainy, it can be depressing there. We wanted to live in a warm, sunny place with sunshine and palm trees. So one day I walked in the house. I was painting outside on the house, and I walked in and I said, "Hey, Cindy, let's move to Disney World." And she instantly said yes. And I was like, well, hey, wait a minute. I got to figure out how. I own 2 computer stores. I had 5 employees. I was really concerned, how am I going to relocate a business? How am I going to relocate a business across the country and make it successful again? I lived in a small town, and a lot of people knew me as the computer guy, Mike's Computer Repair. Yeah, it took several months to figure out the how, and then we put her home for sale. It took about 9 months to sell her house, and then the day came, we sold her house. We packed up 2 dogs, 2 cats, in our SUV and towed a trailer across the country, and we moved to Orlando, Kissimmee. That was right when COVID hit. We rented a townhome for a little while. In August of 2020, we bought a house in Kissimmee. So after we moved to Kissimmee, we were able to, get annual pass for the theme parks, Universal, SeaWorld, Disney. We had a lot of fun at the park. She still had to do cancer treatments here. We didn't have to drive as far. It was way more convenient. We really enjoyed the sunshine, the palm trees. Everything was happier. Looking back now, I can see in the photos of her selfies that she took on her phone, her smile was way bigger after we moved to Kissimmee, Florida. Moving to Orlando was the best thing we ever did at that point. We both got jobs at Disney. Disney had great benefits. We went to the theme parks a lot. And she worked there about a year, and then her cancer came back. So I bought her a mobility scooter. So when she went to the theme parks, she didn't have to walk as much. She started to get fatigued, getting tired. The treatments continued. She had to go on long-term disability. She wasn't able to work anymore at Disney. In 2023, she was hospitalized 5 times, 2 ambulance rides. Early on in the cancer journey, there's ups and downs. There's times when you're done with a major treatment, surgery, radiation. She had surgeries, radiation, ablation, all kinds of different treatments, chemos. first line chemo, second line chemo, third line chemo. Once you complete a line of chemo, you can't go back to another one. So it's kind of a progressive thing. The purpose is to try to save your life, up until a point. Then there's a tipping point where they say you're terminal and they can't save it anymore. The stage 4 cancer is in the liver, and she's already had radiation and ablation, and now the tumors are back, and there's more of them. So at that point, she had tumors in her liver and her lungs, and it wasn't going to go away. So we knew that she was terminal with the cancer. She set herself goals at that point, like, I'm going to make it to Christmas of 2023. All right. Cindy really loved Christmas. Christmas was her favorite holiday. So she made it to Christmas of 2023. She's on a cancer journey since 2016. So she's 7 years into her cancer journey. They tell her she's terminal. She makes it to Christmas. Then her next goal was to make it to our youngest daughter's wedding in Oregon. She made it. Yeah, she made it that far. I was able to take time off of Disney with Family Medical Leave Act, which allowed me to take a certain amount of time off as needed to take her to doctor's appointments, take her to treatments. If she didn't feel good, I could go home and be with her. I became her caretaker as far as doing the chores in the house and taking care of her daily needs. She could get up and walk around, but she couldn't do things like the chores. She couldn't walk very far. If we went to the theme park, she'd have to ride her scooter, limit her time. So, we weren't able to go to the theme parks as much, maybe once or twice a month. There was a period where we didn't even go for 3 months because she was hospitalized a few times. What happens when you get this far into your cancer journey with all the chemo and everything, it starts to wear down your body. You get anemia in your blood, fatigue and weakness. She became a bleed risk, immunocompromised. You have to be careful of getting an infection. She almost died in the hospital in July of 2023, and it's actually a miracle she pulled out of that. She went in an ambulance, and she was there for about 2 weeks and wasn't sure if she was going to make it. But she did, thank God. In 2024, she went on a 4th line treatment that has a goal of prolonging your survival. So it's not a cure, it's trying to help you live longer, and it really did. Some only live 4 to 10 months on that treatment plan she was doing, and she made it past that point. On that treatment, she went about a year. So Cindy really loved horses. She had horses when she was a child, and with her brother and sister, they had horses together. She has 2 sisters and a brother, but her older brother and younger sister and her really liked the horses. They had their own horses for a while when they were kids. Cheryl's husband, my brother-in-law, he came to visit us in the summer of 2024, and one of Cindy's bucket list items was to go see some horses here in Florida. So we went to Ocala. We went to the Gypsy Vanner Horse Farm tour. So she really liked the beauty of the Gypsy Vanner horses. We went there, and she brought a whole bag of carrots, and she fed the horses carrots, like the whole bag. And Ben went with us on that. And we also went to see the Grandview Clydesdales tour. We did both of those. But in late 2024, we knew the cancer was getting worse. the inoperable tumors in the livers and lungs. She was getting pain in the liver areas. We'd have to go to the ER frequently for pain or fatigue, weakness. In November of 2024, I actually quit my Disney job on good terms. They said I could come back if I want. I would get to keep my tenure. Disney was great. I really liked my leaders and the people I work for there. Cindy really needed more help now. She was a bleed risk, she was a fall risk, and she had a lot of weakness. Her next goal was Christmas 2024. Her sister Cheryl and Ben came to visit for Christmas week. They stayed at a hotel at Disney World, and we got to go to the theme parks with them. A few days while they were here, and Cindy and Cheryl would spend some extra time alone in the hotel room, and is talking about how much they love each other. And end of life, it may be the last time they get to see each other. The first day that Ben and Cheryl got there, Cindy was in the hospital one more time. And we weren't sure if she was going to be able to get out during their vacation, but miraculously, she got out the second day, and we continued with our vacation together while they were here visiting. Around this time, I could really tell Cindy was not well anymore. I told my daughters and my family, her family, that she doesn't really have long. She had frequent nosebleeds, the weakness, fatigue, the fall risk of stroke or sudden death. The liver was getting really bad. We knew that would probably be the issue, the main issue there, the liver failure because of the cancer. The fluid started building up. It's called ascites. It's when the liver is failing and liver kind of like leaks out into your peritoneal, in your abdomen. The fluid builds up. It needs to be drained like every couple of weeks in an outpatient hospital setting there. So Cindy and I, we talked about this more, the end of life planning. She was worried that I would fall apart when she was gone. We did estate planning. We planned the will, an advance directive, do not resuscitate. She didn't want to be resuscitated or on life support if she had terminal failure of organs. So we planned that out. We had it all notary signatured and everything. And I'm really happy we did all that. It's good to be prepared there. I'm in a private Facebook group for stage 4 colon cancer, and I would see in there daily that people are passing away from this, especially at the stage she's at. She was ready to go on another line of cancer treatment pills that is something like new and recently had been in clinical trials. She didn't qualify for any clinical trials at that point because of just so far down the line with all the treatments. She was about to go on it, but I could tell things were getting worse. In like November, she started getting blood in her urine. It was just constant, and it wasn't going away. And it was related to the cancer and the liver failure and everything. So I knew she might have only had like four more weeks to live, maybe 2 months in December. I knew that it could all just happen suddenly. One day you're not feeling well, you go into the ER, and you just code and pass away. She made it to February, so in the middle of February, I noticed her being more sleepy and dozing off, sitting on the couch during a conversation. She needed the fluid drained again. I was worried she'd have another emergency before the next appointment on a Tuesday. This was Monday, February 17th. She was very tired and sleepy, and she told me something was wrong. She felt confusion. I was like out at the store or something, and I rushed right home. I sprang to action. I said, "We got to go to the ER right now." And she said, "I'm sorry." And we hugged and said, "Every day with you is a good day." So we gathered our things. She had a to-go bag, and we went off to the ER immediately. We got there. They triaged her. They took her right into a room. They did their typical 6 hours of testing, scans, blood tests, all that. She's awake. She's conscious. She's there with me. That fluid needed to be drained. They said her ammonia levels were building up. They were high. That's what was causing the confusion. And they would address that with some medications. The liver is failing. They know she's terminal, but you're there. They try to do what they can. I was worried even when they drained the fluid that they couldn't drain it all. It seemed like, and she still looked bloated, and I know that it could build up and make things worse, and that's really what happened. So it was about midnight or 1 a.m. She's still awake. I'm getting a little sleepy, so am I. But I said, you know what? I'm going to go home and get some sleep. And I'll just come back in the morning because they were going to check her into her room. Typically, they don't do any major treatment things till the next day anyway. So I figured, hey, I'll just come back tomorrow. So I kissed her goodnight. I went home. I said, see you in the morning. What I didn't know is it was the last time she would talk to me. I show up early the next morning. They had her on a bed in ICU. She was unable to speak. She was tossing and turning in an agitated state. It was the confusion from the ammonia buildup. It's called ammonia-induced confusion or hepatic encephalopathy. Occurs when high levels of ammonia build up in the blood and brain, causing confusion and other neurological symptoms. This can happen when the liver is unable to properly process ammonia, often due to liver disease or other conditions. So I get there, I see her in the ICU in that state, and I talked to the ICU nurse that was there. He said they're treating her for the ammonia with medication to see if it would bring the ammonia levels down and she would wake up again. I spoke to the doctor. He told me, hey, her liver has failed. She's not going to make it. She's likely to code in the next 48 hours. We'd already planned for this moment. I knew what to do. I gave the hospital the do not resuscitate advance directive that she had agreed on. She didn't want to be resuscitated or have a breathing tube if she's terminal. I signed the papers with the ICU manager. I had my oldest daughter take an Uber to come see her. Our other family is in Oregon, too far away to get here in time. Talk to them on the phone. They're very loving and concerned. The doctor was like, you might want to just sign the hospice papers now. They can send her to hospice, give her comfort care. Since they had been trying to treat her for the ammonia, I asked them, well, can we give it one more night to see if when the ammonia level comes down, will she wake up and talk? He agreed. Okay. And so I said I'd be back the next morning, 10 a.m. You meet me here. We talk. We see how it's going. I tried staying with her that night in the ICU in a recliner chair. I only lasted there till about midnight when I realized she wasn't waking up. She was still tossing and turning in an agitated state. They said they shouldn't give her sedatives because it could worsen the liver and cause more issues with the brain. I went home. I said a prayer. I said, if it's God's will, take her home. She didn't want to suffer in hospice. We're Christians. We're believers. We believe in eternal life. And it was okay. It's in God's hands. I prayed a prayer. I posted it on my Facebook for my wife, Cindy, in the ICU tonight. My prayers for his will and her to be done on earth as it is in heaven, and for Cindy and anyone else reading this, don't let go of God's hand. Psalm 73:26. My flesh and my heart will fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Cindy was at the end of a 9-year cancer journey. We had 38 years of loving marriage together. Not many people have this much time with an illness to fulfill their bucket list, but Cindy and I fortunately did. We knew Cindy's cancer was terminal for the last 2 years. So the next morning, February 20th, when I arrived at about 10:30 a.m. to the room to see Cindy, on the last day, an ICU nurse named Tony came into the room and check on her and say hi to me. Tony described what happened overnight and in the morning. Before I got there, Cindy was still unconscious, had not clinically improved. Tony had washed Cindy and administered the medications and even some pain medication that calmed her down. Okay. Cindy they told me that her ammonia levels had come down, but she didn't wake up. Okay. Tony was so compassionate and sweet. I nominated her for a Nurse Daisy Award. She didn't know me. She didn't know Cindy, but she demonstrated by her actions and words that she cared beyond every definition of a nurse, as if Cindy was family too. It made me feel so good. I consulted with the doctor and the hospice nurse because it was evident that Cindy didn't improve overnight. Her systems had failed and she just needed comfort care in the hospice now. Cindy and I had already planned for this day. It was God's timing, not ours. It was okay. It was time. I signed the hospice papers, comfort care only. She would be transferred to hospice at another nearby facility. In a few hours, I felt like it was the right thing and that Cindy and I had prepared for this moment. That morning, in a private moment with Cindy, she looked unconscious, but would occasionally try to sit up and reach for the side of the bed. I think she was trying to not let go for me and the girls, and her family too. I leaned into her and said, "Can you hear me?" She couldn't talk, but it looked like she shook her head yes. I told Cindy my goodbyes. I gently stroked her hair. I told her that she was a good wife and that it was okay to let go. Go be with Jesus now. Her family and I love her, and I'll take care of things and our daughters. After all this, I was all by myself in the room with Cindy. I sat back down on the couch. Cindy calmed down and was quiet there. Nurse Tony, she didn't avoid the situation. She came right back into the room. I asked Tony to see if the doctor would approve more sedation to calm Cindy so she could make it to hospice later without getting agitated again. The agitations were involuntary. I don't think she meant to do it. It's just a kind of an involuntary reaction. Tony was so sweet and kind to Cindy and I. She made me feel a little better. She grasped Cindy's hand and verbally said each thing she was attending to her for. I'm giving you a dose of medication now, okay, Cindy? Cindy was unconscious, but Tony was still demonstrating caring and kindness. She let me tell her Cindy's story when I offered 38 years of marriage. We moved to Orlando 5 years ago from Washington State because we liked Disney. We both became cast members at Disney. We had generations of family that shared Disney World vacations over the years. Tony said she did too. Tony asked me what Cindy's favorite Disney park was. I told her it was Animal Kingdom, but that we liked Epcot, Magic Kingdom. We liked all the parks. Cindy really liked the animals. I told Tony that Cindy and I had prepared for this moment. It was okay now. We are at peace with it. I will never forget Tony. She helped make this better. When my time is up, will they tell my story? What about you? Who will tell your story? Will people listen and care? Tony did. The people who love us will tell our story. Nurse Tony took extra time to let me tell Cindy's story, our story. I love Cindy very much. And if we tell each other stories and use that love to create more love, if we can do that, then nobody ever really dies, not truly. Cindy passed after only 2 hours of hospice. It was peaceful and quick. We are comforted to know that she didn't have to labor in hospice or suffer. I'm glad we had so much time together and that we have the hope of the resurrection in eternity with Jesus. On February 20th, Cindy earned a heavenly reward, the crown of life of a cancer warrior. I picture it with the blue ribbon on it. Blue ribbon is the color for cancer, like, pink is for breast cancer. For colon cancer, it's blue. Cindy has no more pain and suffering. Revelation 21:4 says no more pain and suffering. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, or pain anymore. For the former things have passed away. The new heaven is described in Revelation 21:4. Looking through Cindy's belongings after she passed away, I found one of her hospital go bags. When she was in the hospital one time in 2024, she wrote a bucket list on a piece of paper. The last item on her bucket list was eat pancakes at as many places as possible. Cindy got her wish at Kiki's Kissimmee and at Hash House A Go-Go. And here's the update on Cindy's close sister, Cheryl. Cheryl's a few years older than Cindy. It's been about 3.5 months since Cindy passed away. Her closest sister, Cheryl, just suddenly died a couple weeks ago from a heart attack. I think she was sad about Cindy. She told me. This just brought up all the raw emotions again. Their mother, Gail, had 2 heart attacks since Cindy died. Cheryl collapsed while caring for her mother, Gail. Gail is slowly recovering. She's at home on hospice, but she's actually improving a little bit. I had a 20-minute phone call with her last week. I had just talked to Cheryl the day before she died about how Gail was doing. I told Cheryl she will always be family and I love you. And she said, I love you too. Nobody got to say goodbyes to Cheryl. In a way, it feels worse than what happened to Cindy. I pray for peace and comfort for Mother Gail, her daughter Danielle, and my brother-in-law Ben. And we're both widowers now. And I pray for peace and comfort for Cindy's brother Don and her sister Karen and all of the other family. I got Cindy this blue butterfly urn. It's metallic blue with chrome on it. It's shaped like a butterfly, and it's blue for colon cancer. Cindy would have loved it. I think it's so much prettier than just a regular, vase-style urn. So the future of this channel, Theme Park Delight, I do want to do more YouTube videos. I'll do some theme park videos, but instead of just a video like, I went on this ride, I ate this cupcake, this was my day in the park, I want to do some videos about the nostalgia of being at Disney and the memories you created with your family. And when family passes away, you go there because you're honoring their memory. And yes, you have fun, you enjoy it and everything, but you're doing it in remembrance of them. When I was a Disney cast member, I worked in the call center. So I would do 200 to 400 calls a month talking to Disney guests. And we would ask them a discovery question. What brings you to Disney? And people would tell me, because the joy, the fun we have with making the memories with family. My mom died of cancer. We used to go. We used to love Disney. Now I go and I bring my kids. We want to pass that on to a future generation. So I want to make videos about the joys of going to Disney. And yeah, I'll do the fun things too. It's not just going to be for old sappy people, right? But as a cast member, I have a lot of stories I could share. Would you like me to share some cast member stories from the guests that I talked to on the phone with Disney? Did you know that a Disney call cast member who talks on the phone, the reservation agent, spends the most time with a Disney guest than any other cast member? We spend sometimes 20, 40, 60 minutes or more on the phone with them. I have some stories I could share. Would you like to hear those stories? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you've had a family member that died of cancer, and tell me, how do you remember them? What can you do to honor their memory? Or what do you do to honor their memories? Send me some comments. It would really make me feel better. There's a quietness now. It's like I went in the closet and shut the door, and it's all quiet. I lived with Cindy for 38 years, 38 years of daily discussion and companionship. And now I don't have a companion. It's me and my thoughts now. It's just totally different. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make it. I have friends that love me. I have family that love me. I'm going to stay here. This is my forever home now, Kissimmee, Florida. I have a nice house. I'm so close to the theme parks. I have annual pass for SeaWorld, Disney, Universal. I can go to Busch Gardens. I can go to Aquatica Water Park. Have a lot of fun. So maybe I'll make some more YouTube videos of that. I really do. I'm a real estate agent now. If you would like to move to Orlando and enjoy the theme parks like I did, I'd be happy to help you find your forever home here in Disney, in Orlando, Kissimmee, Central Florida, around the Disney theme parks areas. I've got Disney customer service training. I believe that would help me relate to people, be a good real estate agent. I'm available. You can contact me at michaelchalice.com. I'll put that in the link in the description below. I'll mention it on my channel from time to time. We had so much fun moving here to Orlando. So before I go, here's a couple more scriptures. It's been John 11:25. I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord, she replied. Your eyes will see the King in his beauty and view a land that stretches afar. Isaiah 33:17. And Cindy Chalice, 1967 to 2025, her grace and kindness towards others and animals is her legacy. And for anybody else battling cancer, I pray for you today. My heart reaches out in prayer for you and your family or friends with cancer. If you made it to the end, please mention that in the comments. Like and subscribe. See you later. Bye.